Now today I have a special episode. Since Gen Z in the nostalgic mood this carnival season, we're going to take two songs, an old Sparrow classic and a new Coutain hit, match them up side by side and find the poetry. Call this a comparative analysis. This going to be good. Where's the poetry in Mr. Walker by Sparrow and Wedding Band by Coutain? Before we get going, we up to 2,200 subscribers. We on our way to the big 2,500, but I need you to like, subscribe, share as we explore the literary side of our culture. I appreciate all the energy, all the vibes in the comments across all social media platforms. Subscribe right here on the YouTube. Now, it's not hard to see that Coutain's Wedding Band derives its narrative structure from Sparrow's Mr. Walker, well, Coutain and Tano. Fundamentally, both pieces are about a man's interest in a woman for the purpose of marriage. Simple. Both men approach the parents of their love interest, or a parent rather, to convince them to give their daughters in marriage. And that is about where the similarity ends, because from this point on, we recognize that the motivations of the men may be significantly different. Let's jump into the male character in Wedding Band. Coutain and Tano create this man who interested in providing for a woman because of how she makes him feel emotionally. The man threw the whole kitchen sink behind the woman. He said, I'll get a house, land, wedding band, everything he given to Miss Walker's daughter. Right, so we have some nice masculine rhymes taking place in there. That is the one-syllable rhyme. And of course, we have this cliched marriage phrase, a house, land, wedding band, just to show the man's commitment. So Coutain's Wedding Band opens with a greeting to Miss Walker. Keep note of that, his interest mother, and a request to talk to her daughter because she put him in hot water. Nice rhyme, but also that hot water is a metaphor. That metaphor usually suggests trouble, but here, it seems to suggest a kind of emotional turmoil, a boiling over of the persona's emotions as he says he cannot get over her. And I really like that metaphor. Meanwhile, let me peel back to the mid-1900s. Sparrow opens diametrically different from Coutain. As a matter of fact, this is a whole different kind of woman Sparrow seems to be dealing with. The persona in Sparrow's work immediately recognizes how ugly the woman is. Her ugliness is juxtaposed with her expensive dress. So we have an ugly woman and an expensive dress. Remember what juxtaposition is? Two contrasting ideas side by side to highlight one or the other. In this case, Sparrow also sets up his storyline, a man's motivation to marry for riches. And let me pause that right here. Now you will think it's 1950s and 60s. It's blasphemous for a man not to be the breadwinner and to be leaning on this woman to provide for him. You might expect Coutain's 2026 progressive era persona to be the one more likely to marry into wealth because, you know, I respect all women, power to the woman, etc. But Coutain's character here is actually being the more traditional male who is providing to win the woman. I found that interesting. Sparrow's character, meanwhile, does some society-defying mischief, lining up himself with a woman who's from a rich background to survive. Sparrow's persona, he didn't care about how he look, he didn't care what people think about him or interpret his masculinity, and he actually says that in the piece. He says, after the wedding day, I don't care what nobody say. You're ugly, no scene. The money nice. And to me, that is extremely hilarious. The fact that the first thing he identifies is how ugly the woman is, magnifies her physical shortcomings, and reveals his desperation to overlook them looks in order to get the money. So look at this line. The people say she ugly, but she father full of money. More juxtaposition, right? Enhanced, of course, by internal rhyme. I know you all pick it right there. It is only after reckoning with her intense ugliness can Sparrow address Mr. Walker. We'll also come back to that money line because that's something else in there I want you all to see. But for now, it's almost as if the persona had to let her ugliness soak in before he say good morning to Mr. Walker. Which, of course, contrasts with how Coutain approached Miss Walker. The greeting was the first thing he said. Next thing I want to note in comparing the two pieces is the gender of the parents. Coutain speaking to a woman, to the mother, which to me immediately softens the interaction. You had to be wicked to go and tell a woman her daughter ugly. To me, that is next level wicked man behavior. But here we have Sparrow talking to the father. He's talking to Mr. Walker. And maybe in that gender dynamic there, he has some room to be more frank. And I mean, full points for his transparency, although abrasive, right? Maybe we can consider that a man may be more understanding if you say here was your daughter and all that, you know. Maybe. But Sparrow's persona went further than just trying to reason with the father. He doubles down consistently on her lack of physical attractiveness. But he here to fix the wedding. Why? Because I seen a bang book when I watch at your face. And next great metaphor, insulting but very frank and honest. I mean, how you go tell Mr. Walker your daughter face is nothing but a bang book to me? Again, very hilarious. But that is also absolutely despicable, right? This commentary on the woman in Sparrow's song can be frowned upon in a progressive society. But all you know me. All you know I had to defend the artist from the feminists. When I can. And when possible. Because sometimes it's not that easy to do. But we know though that the portrayal of women in Caribbean music has been historically problematic. And on the surface, this one falls into that problematic line, but I go and try to defend it. And I go and start to defend it by exposing our hero in Coutain's song. I want to expose his romantic pursuit so that could at least ease up the interpretation of Sparrow's poetic persona and ease up the harshness from it. So let me go to what Coutain say. Coutain say, I think I'm in love with her. Ooh, this is how I feel. I sure this connection real and that is why I calling you to make a deal. And in my mind, I like, think? You think? That speaks to me of uncertainty. And the uncertainty followed by the words, I sure. All of a sudden, you're sure now that the connection real. Make up your mind. You think or you're unsure? Which one it is? So to me, that opened up a door for me, and you know I want the door open, to argue that Sparrow's persona is actually more certain of his intention for Mr. Walker's daughter, who by the way, is actually named, she have a name, Rosemary. Coutain gyal in her no name. Anyway, like, look for the evidence. It starts off sweet Rosemary. She promised she go marry me, and now I tired waiting. So much things inside of there. So much things to back and to bolster Sparrow's persona. Sparrow's character is already in a relationship with the woman. How do I know? They courting or they're dating or something, because Rosemary already promised the man that a marriage going to take place. And all Sparrow's character doing is following up on it. And on top of that, he called her sweet. Whether he called her sweet because it has money involved, that is not my business. That is not my business. Whether it's an oxymoron or not, that is not my business. She's sweet. She's sweet. She's sweet. And that to me is some redemption points for Sparrow's poetic persona. Another piece of evidence, remember I told earlier, coming back to this line. The people say she ugly. Sparrow's character gradually walks back on claiming that she was ugly or that he thinks she ugly. You know? By the second line, he done started to say the people say. In other words, it's not me who say she ugly, it's society. And as a matter of fact, he actually here to stand with her. I surely never see this one coming. Look at the next line. Because if she was a beauty, nothing like me could get she. In other words, he bring himself down to a level of ugliness too. He know he ugly and he know he'll never get a nice woman. So he and Rosemary now on the same level of ugliness, and therefore he highlighting the need that money is the only thing could rescue you from the gutter of ugliness. And to me, that's softening the idea that the whole marriage proposal is a simple money grab. Sparrow's poetic persona seems to be at peace with the fact that he and the woman could go about their ugly way once they have money flowing. And it's all up to the woman now to fall in line, and that is why he there begging, because the woman that done agree that two of them ugly, they will get married, and now like what happened now? He had to come to the father. Right? So Sparrow's poetic persona is actually not as bad as we thought initially. On the other hand though, both women playing games with Coutain's character and with Sparrow's character. Both of them had them begging or coming to the parent, and in Coutain's case, the man actually say, here we're going on, stop playing games now. Stop playing games. And we have Sparrow's character saying, hey, I'm tired of waiting. They have both men in limbo, and these women are in no rush to fulfill these men's desires. And to me, that empowers the women, showing them that they're actually in control. So now we head back over again to Coutain's character. So while he seemed uncertain as he started, I really just point that out just to open our door to talk about Sparrow's character. He actually got more confident as he went along. Look at this line here, verse 2. Well, I do really business what she father say. Because if not she, let me be real, it's best we just run away, that brave and bold. And to be honest, I don't really want to go that way. So I'm begging you, please, listen to me, I'll keep your daughter safe. How sweet. How sweet. The man begging, he begging the parents, the mother in this case, for that kind of attention. To me, those are some strong statements. Not much figurative language, I admit, but bold declarations of what he will do. Run away, keep her safe, and he already providing for the house and land as we saw before. So there's a nice connection up there. So his mindset either became more certain as he spoke to Miss Walker, or he became more comfortable in the conversation as the conversation progressed. Both men interested in their Miss Walker for different reasons, but for the same result: matrimony, or matrimony, however you look at it. Coutain's and Tano's wedding band, that gets 8 out of 10 on the poetry scale, and Sparrow gets a 8.7 out of 10 on the poetry scale for Mr. Walker. There's the poetry in Wedding Band by Tano and Coutain, and Mr. Walker by Sparrow.